A $22 toy. That's all it was ever supposed to be. Not a luxury item. Not an expensive collectible. Just a simple Christmas gift from a grandmother to her granddaughter. But somehow, that $22 purchase spiraled into an $802 tariff bill, leaving one woman stunned, stressed, and asking a question that many people would ask in her place. How does something this small turn into something this big? Bonnie O'Connell wasn't doing anything unusual. She wasn't trying to bend the rules or exploit some loophole. She was doing what millions of grandparents do every year when the holidays roll around, trying to find the perfect gift. She lives in Boston. She has grandchildren she adores. And like many people, she puts thought into the gifts she buys, especially at Christmas. For her, it's never just about the price tag. It's about meaning. It's about effort. It's about seeing that look on a child's face when they unwrap something they truly love. That's what she was chasing when she started shopping for her 4-year-old granddaughter. While browsing for ideas, Bonnie came across something that immediately stood out. It wasn't just another Barbie doll. This one was wearing a professional women's hockey league jersey, a detail that made it feel different, modern, and special. It felt like the kind of gift that showed intention. Something thoughtful. Something that wasn't just grabbed off the nearest shelf. There was only one catch. The doll wasn't available in the United States. For some people, that would have been the end of the story. Too complicated. Too much hassle. But Bonnie didn't see it that way. She had family in Canada, specifically a cousin living in Nova Scotia. So she did what felt completely reasonable. She reached out to him, explained the situation, and asked if he could pick up the doll and ship it to her. No alarms went off. No warning signs appeared. Nothing about this felt risky. Her cousin agreed, went to a local FedEx location, bought the Barbie, which cost around $22, and filled out the shipping paperwork. It was routine, ordinary, the kind of transaction people make every day without thinking twice. He paid, signed where he was told, and left. A few days later, the package arrived at Bonnie's home in Boston exactly as expected. No dilas, no customs issues, no notices. The Barbie was there, ready to be wrapped and placed under the tree. As far as Bonnie knew, everything had gone perfectly. Christmas came. The gift was opened. Her granddaughter was happy. The moment was exactly what Bonnie had hoped for. End of story. Except it wasn't. Weeks later, long after the excitement of the holidays had faded, something unexpected arrived. Not another package. Not a follow-up email. A bill. Bonnie opened it without much thought, assuming it might be routine. But the moment she saw the number, her stomach dropped. $802. At first, she thought there had to be some kind of mistake. She reread it, then read it again. A tariff charge for the Barbie. Nothing made sense. She hadn't paid anywhere near that amount. The toy cost $22. Shipping wasn't outrageous. So how could she possibly owe hundreds of dollars? That confusion quickly turned into stress. Bonnie later described the feeling as a physical reaction, a sinking sensation that hit her all at once. She didn't even know what to say or where to start. For someone on a normal holiday budget, this wasn't just inconvenient. It was overwhelming. Try to make sense of the bill, Bonnie began digging deeper. And that's when the real issue finally came to light. According to Bonnie, the problem traced back to a single clerical error made during the shipping process in Canada. When the FedEx employee helped her cousin fill out the paperwork, the value of the item was mistakenly listed as nearly $2,200 instead of $22. One extra digit, a few misplaced zeros, a mistake that looked small on paper but carried massive consequences. Her cousin, who was handed a slip of paper to sign, didn't notice the error before leaving the store. And once that paperwork was entered into the system, it became official. That incorrect value followed the package across the border. Here's where things escalated even further. At the time, a newly instituted 35% tariff on goods entering the country was in effect. The policy itself wasn't aimed at toys or grandmothers. It was part of broader trade rules. But tariffs don't care about intent. They're calculated based on numbers. And according to the system, Bonnie wasn't importing a $22 doll. She was importing a $2,200 item. 35% of that number turned into an enormous charge. Add additional fees, and suddenly Bonnie was staring at an $802 bill for a gift that cost less than a dinner for two. From Bonnie's perspective, it felt absurd. The package had already been delivered. The gift had already been opened. And now, weeks later, she was being told she owed hundreds of dollars. She questioned how this was even allowed. How could a company deliver something and then come back demanding that kind of money after the fact? And more importantly, how was she supposed to prove something she never filled out herself? This wasn't a situation where someone knowingly undervalued an item or tried to dodge fees. This was a grandmother caught in the middle of a system that had already decided her fate based on a typo. What followed wasn't instant relief. The charge wasn't immediately reversed. There were conversations, explanations, stressful moments of waiting and uncertainty. For Bonnie, the emotional toll mattered just as much as the money. She made it clear she loves her grandchildren dearly, but there are limits. No single Christmas gift is ever meant to cost hundreds of dollars. The family's holiday budget wasn't even close to that number. During this time, Bonnie spoke publicly about the experience, sharing her disbelief and frustration. And her story struck a nerve with many people. Because when you strip away the details, this wasn't really about a Barbie. It was about how easily regular people can get caught in systems they don't fully understand. Systems that move fast, automate decisions, and rarely stop to ask whether something actually makes sense. Eventually, the charge was reversed. Bonnie didn't end up paying the $802, but that didn't erase what she went through. The stress, the anxiety, the hours spent trying to fix something she didn't cause. FedEx did not immediately respond to requests for comment, leaving unanswered questions about accountability and safeguards. And that silence only fueled a bigger conversation. Because Bonnie's situation isn't as rare as people might think. International shopping has become normal. Ordering from another country doesn't feel exotic anymore. People trust that if something goes wrong, it will be caught early. But Bonnie's story shows how fragile that assumption can be. One unchecked box, one wrong number, one rushed signature, and suddenly, the system treats a toy like a luxury import. What makes this even more unsettling is how delayed the consequences were. Everything appeared fine at first. The package arrived. The gift was enjoyed. There was no indication that a financial shock was coming. That delay is what makes stories like this so dangerous, because by the time the problem surfaces, it feels out of your control. Bonnie's experience serves as a reminder that even simple purchases can carry hidden risks when borders, paperwork, and automated systems are involved. And it raises an uncomfortable question. If this can happen over a $22 Barbie, what else slips through unnoticed every day? So the next time you sign a form without looking twice, or assume everything is settled because a package arrived safely, remember this story. Because sometimes the real cost doesn't show up at checkout. It shows up later when you least expect it.